Can do that.
Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSperts. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and joining me, as always, Mr. Andy Molitor. Did you guys have any Kim on the BetSperts Golf Show? I didn't get a chance to see it this week.
He was. I not only did I bet him, I made fun of his stupid nicknames. No, I just top 20. He was my best bet to play him top 20, and at the end of the write up, it's like, man, he only needs baseline putting to hit this. This isn't that good of a field. If he putts well, he's competing, and obviously he putted very well and ended up winning. But I made fun of his Thomas the Tank Engine nickname in my write up, so got to show him a little more respect. And, otherwise, yeah, fun weekend. Like I just posted that a bit ago. I need to bet as much money as I possibly can on the one pick I take and put in the newsletter every week, because that's hitting like 85% for the goddamn year. 7 out of the last 8 weeks, the newsletter one is hit. So congrats to Fading Harris English one last time. And yeah, we're into the playoffs for this week. I don't know, how was your weekend?
Playoffs. It was pretty good. Nice and slow. A little bit of tennis. I didn't know we would do the playoffs. We're already here. Look at that.
That's because golf playoffs are horrible. Like they don't market them properly. They're not set up in a. I don't know. It's dumb. It's like, hey, guess what? We're doing the playoffs. Everyone's like, yeah, we don't give a shit. We're doing football. It's football time, guys. Like you should do this in the summer when no one cares. Try to go head to head against just baseball. That'd be a lot easier. But real quick, I did talk a big game about going to the casino. I had to share this with you. I haven't told anyone this story yet, but I don't know if you are I'm not superstitious when it comes to betting. I don't believe in mushes, jinxes, Twitter. I'm not really that way. But there are certain harbingers of bad things, and sometimes you worry of like, is the universe fucking with me or telling me something? And so we went to Waterloo, Iowa all day. I'm burnt. Like you can see my tan lines here. Went to the water park all day. Water park was awesome. It was fun. Kids had a great time. Get to the hotel. We're not going to drive 2 hours home. They're going to hang at the hotel and put them to bed. And then I'm going to go to the casino. Get to the casino. I find a parking spot. I step out of my truck into I don't know how you can describe it other than a big puddle of paint. Someone had spilled, I don't know, an entire can of house paint on the car next to me. You could see tire tracks coming out of the puddle of paint where someone had parked there before, driven through it. And it was right next to my door. Stepped in it, my flip-flop slipped, almost fell on my ass, and caught myself on the door and the car next to me. I'm like, shit, this isn't a good start. Got in there, and again, I don't use this bank account much. It's basically just to get cash out. Cash card didn't work. Couldn't get cash out.
You gotta leave. You should have left.
Right away. So I just do the thing. I'm like, well, show me my balances. Shows me all zeros. I'm like, oh no, like the government levy me or what happened here? Go on the bank app. Bank app's not working. Nothing's working. So it's like I'm thinking, I'm like, I can just go home. Or like I could be the guy who's up in the front of the line getting a cash advance from a credit card or something. I'm trying to think of like, how do I turn Bitcoin into money in Waterloo, Iowa? Ended up just going home. It was only like a mile from the hotel. Didn't gamble a bit. And then it was just the bank system was having issues. Everything was fine in the morning. My money's there. I just didn't take it out and play crap. So I ended up for the weekend, I guess, because normally, like, how many times do you go play craps on a lark and end up? Like,
never.
I don't know, 20, 30% of the time. So we'll say law of odds are, and again, like, I should look at it.
Money not lost is money won.
Look at it. There's still paint. I'm not shitting you. This is paint all over my flip-flop. I got to get these cleaned up. So, and the thing about Bitcoin ATMs is it's a bit of a misnomer. Well, are there ones that you can actually take money out? Any Bitcoin ATM I've seen is like, hey, give us cash to buy Bitcoin at like a 5% markup.
I've used it once just to
Vegas
see how
has
it
them, I think.
works. And they crush you not only on the fees, but you have to check the prices that they're offering to sell you at. A lot of times they put like a 5 to 10% buffer on the price and then whack you for another 5 to 10% on the fee. So they're really tough. It's still the best way to sell Bitcoin is find somebody that wants Bitcoin and has Venmo.
Yeah, no, pretty much low fee costs there. But so yeah, we're back this weekend. I'm gonna gamble at a real casino. I'm gonna go to the bank and tell them to hand me cash so that I can just carry to a casino. Things are gonna work out a lot better. And we'll like I said, we'll start in on the playoffs. We've got the whole gang is here, Alex. This is a banger. All the good golfers are here because there's just so
It's
much money.
playoffs.
And there's so much money. Like
The
they hand out
postseason. It's a whole
so
new
much
time.
cash. So your top 125 golfers in the FedEx standings who have not left for a rogue tour and been suspended are here. And you'll see the top 70 next week and the top 30 the week after that. And in fact, the standings where they paused them to get into this, the top 10 received some sort of bonus check too. So Sung J M snuck into the top 10 of the FedEx like business class standings or whatever, got an extra $1 million. So there's a lot of money to be made shooting up these FedEx standings. And I mean, you can see a lot of the big names. Rory's your favorite here, Scotty, Cam, I mean, a bunch of these guys, multiple winners this year. Tony Finau, suddenly a multiple winner. Actually, the winner of this event last year. Fitzpatrick, your major champion. John Rahm, not forgotten. Xander Schauffele, Zalatoris, one day. And then Cam Young, right up there with Zalatoris. Cam Young is in that top 10, but he was the only one to make the top 10 and get those bonus funds without a win. That's how well he's played this year. Does not have a win this season. Has just crushed it at some bigger events. Yeah, a little frustrating, I'm guessing. And Jordan Spieth there too. I posted all the odds on BetSports Golf, and then Savage Samurai says, "Someone explain the current state of live golfers being played. They're not allowed to. Like if you have teed off at a live event, you are suspended." And that's the funny part is like somebody on the Corn Ferry Tour is getting screwed over by this because I think it's Bubba Watson has committed to play live, but he hasn't teed off in a live event. So he's not suspended. So where he's at in the PGA rankings, FedEx or OWGR, is actually bumping somebody off of like the Corn Ferry. People are mad because like he's gonna get suspended here as soon as he goes and plays in Chicago or Bangkok or wherever he decides. So it's a little goofy, and there's a lot of there's litigation right now. It's beyond where I can figure out. So
everybody
right
but
now,
DJ is suing the PGA.
Yeah, if you've teed off in the live, you can't play in the PGA. So there are a handful of guys that would be in this top 125, and there's 4 or 5 guys that are sitting right there at the bottom that are thanking them, I guess, because normally they would not have gotten into this event. So I haven't made any bets yet. I've seen a couple people jumping on. Morikawa's been a little disappointing this season. Man, he's still a top tier golfer, and this course begs for long to medium irons where he can succeed, exceed expectations, excel, all the words you want to use.
Positive E words.
Yeah, he's like 35 in some places. I wouldn't expect that to last too much longer. There's some good numbers on him. Sam Burns is 30, 35. I don't hate that either. So I'll have some outrights. We'll talk about them tomorrow as we spin towards TPC Southwind, a beautiful, beautiful little course.
It's the last time Colin was in the 30s. That's wild.
That's what I'm saying. Like that number isn't going to last. I might just bet that right now. So
let me see. I guess I'll just talk about tennis, but I'll see if I can find it while I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. I'm about to cue you for tennis while you're trying to bet golf. Where are the ladies this week besides Tirana?
Up in Toronto and also in Concord. There's some fun events. And Andy, there's even an ITF 100 tournament that, unfortunately, the acceptance list isn't very good, but it's only like an hour and a half from my house. I might go watch some tennis this week. We'll see what the matchups end up being. But yeah, the big event, WTA Toronto, the Canadian Open. This is a fun event. I think we mentioned it last week, kind of in passing. Every year, the men and women play in either Montreal and Toronto, and they switch the following year. So women last played in Montreal, men last played in Toronto. So the men are in Montreal this time, women in Toronto. Should be a really fun field. It's stacked. We've got 64 players. The tournament has just started, so outrights are closed right now. I did tweet out 4 picks yesterday. Contavate, Pagula, Garcia, and Quinyan Zhang. You can find that and maybe after things close, grab those. But let's jump into some first-round bets. Just a few things. We'll start with a couple parlays in Toronto. Elise Mertens with Caroline Garcia. Really, really love what Caroline Garcia has been doing now. I believe this will be her first hardcore tournament, but there's nothing in me that's really worried about her ability to translate that form over. She's playing some fantastic tennis, goes against Alizé Cornet, a fellow French woman that she's beaten a couple times, and just is generally much better than. I'm looking at a number on that match right around minus 174, minus 175. I have it out to minus 225, and I actually tweaked that down, had it in the 240s when I first started, and made some adjustments. But like her at that price, so I'll put it together with Elise Mertens, again, one of the most solid players on tour, pretty much beats everyone she's supposed to beat, and she should really put one on Anna Bondar here. If you're playing DFS, I think you still have some chance to get in. Usually they skip the early matches, but grab Elise Mertens for that as well. She goes up against Bondar, great clay player, someone who was very profitable for us during that swing, but hard courts is really going to be outmatched here. So we'll put the two of them together. Petra Kvitova, I haven't bet on her in quite some time, but built a little bit of form over grass season, played some decent hardcore tennis in the Czech tournament that we had in Prague a couple of weeks ago. Goes up against Allison Risk, who is terrible in this tournament every year. Whether it's in Montreal, whether it's in Toronto, she has just a bad time here. I don't know what it is being north of the border. Maybe she gets distracted by all the mousse and the syrup. I'm not really sure, but really like Kvitova here. Looking at a price, I believe, right around minus 180 or so in this parlay. I had this closer to 240, so really like her there. We'll put her with one of the outrights I did take, Zhang Qinyan. We bet her quite a bit. She is now starting to become more of a favorite, and I still don't think it's big enough. Goes against Rebecca Marino. Marino had a nice week last week, qualified for a tournament, won a couple matches she probably shouldn't have, but is generally getting a little too much credit for what is a look-ahead week, honestly. So give me Zhang here again, have that almost out to minus 240 myself. So put those together. Barbara Krejcikova, it's been a really tough year for her. Won a Grand Slam last year, finished second in another Grand Slam, but picked up some injuries, has continued to play doubles. Goes up against Karolina Pliskova, who is somehow having a worse year, I think, than Krejcikova overall. Krejcikova generally has her numbers, beaten her a handful of times, and actually recent head-to-head matches that hold a little bit of water with me. I had Krejcikova out as almost a minus 130 favorite, so was able to get plus 100, seeing some minus 110s out there. Play at minus 110 or better. That number should be just fine. And then these first set bets, generally don't play these too often. It's hard to tell, especially in the first round, but looking at this Kudermetova-Tomljanovic match, both of these women play very, very long sets, and then you tend to see actually some quicker second sets. They really seem to let up there. So instead of taking the full match over here, which is at 21.5, right about where I have it, I'm looking at 9.5, and I'm sorry I didn't put the juice out there. It looks like it's minus 110. I had this closer to 10 minus 110, honestly. I don't think that some of the adjustments that they make for these set bets are good, given how often we see a short second set. I believe that match will be tomorrow, and these next two will also be tomorrow. Christina Buska, anyway. Christina, plus 145 here, playing against Shuai Zhang. Should absolutely be able to take care of Zhang, someone who is just generally plays a lot of grass events, collects her points there, and generally does better at some of the lower hard court events. Hasn't done a lot of good stuff in some of these courts up here in Canada. Bukska comes through qualifying, playing some great tennis. I love her. I have this match close to even. So, plus 135, plus 130 or better looks good. And then Emma Raducanu, again, she'll be tomorrow as well. Goes against Camilla Giorgi. Really confusing number here. Giorgi can be very good, but is often erratic, and Emma has the game to sort of take her down here. I'm seeing minus 125, minus 130. I had her out at minus 160, so minus 30, 35 or better looks good to me. And then WTA 125K challenger bet. So this is 125K. Some put it underneath as a challenger, basically AAA tennis, if you will. We'll take Clara Towson, really like her. Unfortunately, let us down in a smaller tournament last week, but actually decided to skip coming to Toronto, withdrew there to stay in the United States and play the smaller event. Goes against Katie Bolter, who continues to be overpriced given what she did on grass season. And Towson, again, I think was kind of a funky look-ahead spot for her last week. I'm trying to put that out of my mind, and I have her as a much bigger favorite here. So like her, that one will be tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock. And then Katie Bolnitz goes up against Greet Minnen tomorrow morning. I'm just going to keep fading Greet Minnen. She hasn't won a match, I think, in like 2 months at this point, maybe one down there at a lower level, as just getting pummeled this year, and not really sure what's going on there, but happy to take Volnitz, who's been really thriving in some of these smaller events. So bunch of matches here. The two parlays, those will start today. Krejcikova's today. Kudermetova, Tomljanovic, I believe, is tomorrow. Let me double check. And then both of the Concord bets will be tomorrow morning.
Maybe Greet's
Kudermetova tomorrow.
Greet's the one that broke up with AVU, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't like the breaking point of her. It's not like she was great, but I wonder if
she was a reasonable. You make a good point. I want to go back and see.
I wonder, like that happens. We see this with like professional athletes.
Heartbreak is real, kids.
When they have something happen like that in their personal life. So, Greet Minen is a fade until she finds love again, for sure.
Just
and then
4 wins since February.
Oof. AVU, we're asking you, take her back. She's a good fade is as good as a good bet. So, and then real quick before we head out for the day, I did want to mention last Friday we had a fun deep dive with Brinson. We went through
excited for that one.
6 or 7 awards markets. I was a little worried. I said this to you before we even did the podcast. I'm like, man, this is like everything else. We're gonna have to split this into 2 episodes next year because it's so much stuff to go over. But we made a few bets on the show, and I won't go through all of them. You can go listen to that if you get a chance. And somebody is asking NBA futures. We've had a couple, but we'll get into some win totals here soon. Schedule should be out next week, and then once we can evaluate the schedule, win totals will be a little easier to go around. But as far as awards markets, I did want to touch on one today in the comeback player of the year. Now it's not like MVP where it's like, all right, if you're the best quarterback, you're probably just going to win this if your team's good. But there is a quarterback bias to everything. Like if Jameis Winston wins the NFC South, he's just going to win this because he had a bad injury. And if he's good enough and the Saints win the division and he has a good year, he's just going to win this. Like it is still going to be quarterback heavy. Trubisky, I don't know if that's really a thing, but there's markets that have our guy Deshaun Watson as like a favorite, not a favorite, but like middle of the pack, 10, 15 to 1. People aren't going to
get any votes.
Yeah, people are going to struggle to vote for him based on, mitigating factors in his legal life. So it's going to be hard for him to get votes. Like there isn't a lot of quarterbacks near the top. Like if you think the Baker Mayfield experience is going to go good, there's probably other bets you could make on just, I don't know. You could bet them week in and week out to win because I really don't see Carolina having that kind of success. So it's going to be hard for a quarterback, in my opinion, outside of our guy, Jay Winston, to get this done. And I did put a little, and you can see that at the bottom. This got shoehorned in because it's the one I had bet. And Travis Etienne, never was good at saying his name, but boy, howdy, kind of an out of sight, out of mind look. People forget how good somebody is because we didn't get to watch him last year. But you go back, go watch some 2020 highlights from this guy down Clemson. Like, I think 1,600 yardish. Like he had 70 touchdowns in college. Granted, you don't get to play Boston College when you come to the pros. You don't get that ACC schedule. But he has looked good in camp. His running mate also had an injury. Etienne. I know. I just want to make it more French.
Etienne.
Every name I want to make more French for some reason or another. But go watch some Clemson highlights from 2020. Fucker was good. Not only that, but he is just, even with James Robinson there, like he is going to get other looks. They're splitting him out wide. He's going to line up in the slot. And I think at the end of the year, he's going to get a bulk of the touches in this running back room. If they're good at all, like, yeah, it's weird to say because he didn't actually touch the field in the regular season ever. He's kind of, if this were the NBA, he'd be a rookie, I guess. But he did, he came into the league, played a little preseason, ripped up, had a Liz Frank injury, which is a foot thing. So, and Dan says this in the chat. Really he's not eligible for Rookie of the Year, and that is a good point. Some voters might give him some love because it's like, hey, this guy might have won Rookie of the Year with this kind of performance. He's just not eligible. So I think 41 is just way too big. And it should be like, he should be down there with if you're going to bet on Daniel Jones, you might as well take ETN.
Don't bet Daniel Jones. Just
41.
don't.
Again, there's better ways to bet the Giants. If you want to bet Daniel Jones, just take the Giants to win the division. Giants alt totals over. There's other ways to attack.
Don't.
But yeah, I would encourage anyone.
Don't bet Daniel Jones.
Yeah, there's definitely other ways. So, all right. Thanks to you guys in the chat. Louisiana Guyholt says, as always, killing it. Hit a thumbs up on the YouTube if you get a chance. It's not that hard. And hopefully next time you go to a casino, you have better luck than me. Don't step in a pile of. I should tweet it out. I have a picture of this pile of paint. I took it when I came back out. I'm like, shit. I got in through my passenger side, climbed across.
You should have complained. You might have gotten some free bets.
I didn't know who to complain to. I'm like, God damn it! I just want to go back to the hotel and pass out. You spend all day at a water park, your ass is whooped. Like I was tired. Yeah. Slept like a dead possum that night. So.
Blessing all right. In disguise.
We will we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a great week and hit the thumbs up and subscribe, review, rate, all that good stuff. And we'll see you tomorrow.